Section 1.1 Interactive Assignment. The data on the right relate to characteristics of high-definition televisions A through E. We want to be able to identify the individuals, variables, and data corresponding to the variables. Determine which each variable is qualitative, continuous, or discrete. So let's take a look at the columns. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. The first column is the setup, which goes from A to E. The second column is size in inches. The third column is screen type. And the last column is the number of channels available. And so what we want to do is we want to determine what are the individuals being studied. So let's take a look at this question here. So I have this question here. So it's saying here that a definition of an individual, which is what you want to break down. It's asking for individuals. So what is the definition of an individual from our guided notes? It is a person or object that is a member of the population being studied. So what is the population that is being studied? Well, if you look, it is the setup, because the setup has A, B, C, D, and E. So therefore, you're going to say the answer is D, because you're looking at the high definition television setups from A through E. So let's take a look at our result, and therefore there is our answer, the high definition television setups A through E. The next question says, what are the variables in their corresponding data being studied? Okay, so we're asking, remember, variables is what we need to define. So variables are characteristics, or are the characteristics of the individuals of the population being studied. So here, okay, the setup, again, is the individual. So we have to exclude the setup in this case. So the variables are the size in inches, which go from 53 to 57, the screen type, which goes from the projection to plasma, and then the number of channels available from 299 to 290. So if you notice in part B, it only includes 2 of the variables. In part C, it includes the individuals, so the answer is going to be A. So therefore, we're going to say that the variables in their corresponding data is going to be A. Okay, now moving back to the last question, it says determine whether each variable is qualitative, continuous, or discrete. Now again, we want to identify what is the definitions of all three. Qualitative variables classify individuals on the basis of a characteristic or category. Discrete variables have gaps between possible values. In general, this means only whole numbers that are possible values. You can count the numbers for discrete, meaning it's countable. Continuous variables have no gaps between possible values. In general, this means that any decimal value is possible. So when we talk about size, okay, size can change, and there's no gaps between these values. So therefore, this is considered a continuous variable. Now, a screen type, okay, is an individual, right, on the basis of a characteristic or category. So it's based on a characteristic or category, therefore it is a qualitative variable. And then the number of channels available is, well, remember that discrete variables are the numbers that you can count. And so therefore, we're going to say that that represents discrete. So therefore, our answer is continuous, qualitative, and then discrete.